question you should ask, and I'll ask it for you, is why should you elect Dennis Daugaard governor? Why him? Why not the others? Well, I'll give you 3 quick reasons, and then I hope to answer any questions you have. The first reason is, I think, experience. One can become governor without any previous political experience in peer and succeed, but it'll take some time. It'll take a while. And especially in these years when there's quite a bit of legislative turnover, half the House was brand new this year. The lobbyists know how to apply their trade. I think it's useful to have a governor that understands how the process works, how lobbyists succeed or fail, how a bill can succeed or fail. And I understand that. It's useful to have someone that understands the budgeting process, that has had some experience with the issues that have come up last year or the year before that. So I've been there 6 years as a state senator and 8 years as lieutenant governor, so I feel like I could hit the ground running more so than some others. The second experience, or second reason I give you is executive experience. After 10 years in banking, I held leadership positions at Children's Home Society, and I told you a little bit about Children's Home, but one thing I didn't tell you is about the condition of Children's Home Society when I first became involved with it. Things were not going very well for them. They'd lost several $100,000 2 years in a row. They had owed a couple banks several $100,000. They had overcrowded facilities. Their vehicles were in disrepair. They had been spending their savings down from $1.5 million down to $650,000. And things were going very well. Well, I got on the board, and it wasn't all me. There were other people that were involved too. But I became the finance chair. I became the board president. We hired a new executive director. We got the budget back in the black. We gradually paid off the debts that were owed to the banks. And then we embarked on building the organization into a better organization. It grew 7-fold. It has over 300 employees now, 4 24-hour facilities that are very beautiful and durable facilities. And those reserves that had shrunk to $650,000, we embarked on an endowment building campaign. And when I turned in my keys in November, we had $22 million of fixed assets, debt-free, and we had $32 million of investments in our reserves and endowment. And we don't have any operating debt. We don't even have a mortgage. So those kinds of things, I think, I'd like to point to, because many candidates today have become fiscal conservatives of recent date. And in my life, I think my history has demonstrated that fiscal responsibility and discipline has been something that I've tried to live. One of my television commercials talk about when we built our house across the yard. You know, we've been at it for 10 months, and we were ready to have our own place. And so Lynn and I moved across the yard really before we could afford to do everything we wanted to do in our house. We wanted to have hardwood floors in the kitchen and the dining room. We didn't have the money for the oak flooring. And so we tore down an old garage, and we used some softwood siding, not the shiplap, but it was an old garage before plywood days, and it was won by, that was the subwood behind the shiplap siding. We took that one by, laid it out and sanded it, and it looked pretty good, and we knew it was softwood and wouldn't last very long, but it was good enough, and it was free. And we had tile in our upstairs bathroom, but we wanted a tile in our downstairs bathroom. We couldn't afford it, so we put on our main floor, so we put the toilet on the plywood subfloor.
Anybody guess what my favorite show was in the early 80s?
So, and we had a cutout in our countertop for a dishwasher, and we had a cutout in our countertop for an oven. But we didn't have those things, and that was money we could go without, and so we cooked in our microwave for 2 years. And the point I'm making is we waited until we had the money for those things. We could have borrowed, but we decided, no, we'll just wait, and we'll be able to get them when we can afford them, and we won't have a debt. So I think the second reason, again, is executive experience. I know how to lead an organization. I know how to exercise financial discipline. I've done it in my own life. I did it at Children's Home Society. I could do it for the state as well. And the third reason, is something in some ways you probably need to ask other people about. But I'm running for what I believe are the right reasons. I'm not interested in money or power. If I was driven by money or power, I would never work for 20 years for a children's charity, because you don't get rich and powerful that way. But I like public service. When I joined Children's Home Society, I knew I could make a difference. In fact, I left the bank for less money. I went to Children's Home and took less money because I knew I could make a difference there. And I know I did. And I felt very good when I handed in my keys last November that the organization was on solid financial footing. Not me, it wasn't all me, it was a team, but I led that team. And it took perseverance and determination and almost 20 years. But we left that organization in great shape, and I feel good about that. So I'd like to believe that I would have a South Dakota agenda, not a Dennis Daugaard agenda. So those are my 3 reasons that I'll pitch to you. And now I'll answer any questions that you have. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk.